How to destroy the white army with the Najdorf Sicilian. This is a very important game by the great and legendary Bobby Fischer in 1959 against Hermann Pilnik. And this is the second video of the Najdorf variation series. And in this video, I'm going to show you the main strategical ideas and plans for black to destroy white pieces. And this is the typical Najdorf position as this, and we have the open Sicilian and we reply with a6. As I told you, this is a very flexible structure. We will keep our options. We might play knight c6 or knight d7. We might play e6 or e5. In some positions, even g6 is possible. So a6 is as you know, a prophylactic kind of chess move, and it wants to play b5, also prevents some white's ideas, and we will wait for white's response. In this game, white replied with bishop e2. I call this bishop e2, g3, h3, this kind of moves as mainly positional lines. This bishop e2 called also positional line. It played by the great Anatoly Karpov, and we should cover it. And we will reply with e5. He should go back, so he goes to b3, and here we have bishop e7. Against knight to f3 in this position, you might reply with h6 to prevent bishop g5, and in later on you will play bishop e6, bishop e7, and most of the cases you will put your knight on d5. So if knight goes back to f3, just play h6 to prevent bishop g5. This is important, but against knight b3, we will reply with bishop to e7, castle, castle. So bishop to e3, bishop e6. These are the main moves in Najdorf, and black is ready to control d5, and in some position he also wants to play d5. And here in this position, white replies with f3. This is not a good move. I don't like this structure for white at all. In some games, white can play f4, but I might show you a game in near future. If you want, please write down in the comments and like this video. A very recent game by Iranian prodigy called Sina Move Ahead. He plays here knight c6, put his knight on e5. His chess.com rating is more than 3000. He's a very young talent, and here we have this e5 square, yeah, and the e4 pawn is also weak. We can put pressure on it by playing rook e8. Now not only the d6 pawn is weak, but also the e4 pawn is weak, and this e5 square, and from there you can also put your knight on c4. So this is a good position for black, actually. Rook to c8, very good. If you want, please write also future, but in this game white plays f3. And here, black simply plays queen to c7. He wants to get control over the c4 square. And as I told you, this a6 move is a prophylactic kind of move. Prophylactic kind of chess moves are those moves which you prevent your opponent's ideas, and at the same time you improve your position. Now, we can safely put our queen on c7 because there is no longer any kind of knight b5. So, queen to c7 on the semi-open file. So here, white plays queen e1. To be honest, I don't understand white's play. He wants to play queen e1, maybe queen f2, maybe queen g3, but this is very slow. This is very slow, and it allows black to play all of his strategies, and this is a perfect game to understand what are black's strategies. So we will play knight to d7, and after rook to d1, we will play b5. This is very good. Here, black is just simply trying to play b4 and winning the pawn on c2. So white understandably plays rook to d2 to prevent this kind of things happen. But now knight to b6. And look at the misplacement of the white's pieces. Is it a word? Misplacement? I'm not sure. Misplace, I know, but misplacement, I'm not sure. So knight to b6. Black at any moment might be able to play d5. And if we have a safe d5, if you have a normal and playable d5 in the Najdorf, then we are great. Then our position is not only equal, then we are in a great shape. So white is in a lot of pressure. He plays queen to f2. Here it might be the only moment in the game that we might be able to criticize Fischer. Engines suggest knight to c4 or knight to a4. For example, such a position is very great for black, actually. Rook to b8, and I mean, black will just simply win this pawn, and I'm not sure why Fischer rejected this line. Probably because of bishop b6 and after queen c8, knight c1, but still rook b8 and still queen c6 is coming. There is no b3 in this position because c takes b3. Look at this pressure on the c file that we want to use it on the Najdorf. So this is very, very thematic, and knight c4 could have actually won a pawn very simply. But Fischer plays rook to b8. If you see some line for black after knight c4, please write down in the comments. So I might missing something, but even engine suggests knight c4 was the best idea. Rook b8. Okay, this is also very natural to protect this pawn, to protect this knight. And here white decided to say, okay, I'm just playing for a draw. This guy is very strong, so what can I do? I just trade pieces. And here I put the knight on d5, and here a thematic response. You can both take with knight or with bishop, but with knight is better. And here you will put your bishop on d7, and black has two bishops. And this d5 pawn is blocking the way of this rook. And before this position, as I told you, we have d5 weakness and d6 weakness. But after knight d5, we get rid of those weaknesses. Now this d5 pawn can also be a target for us. But white had a strategy. He wants to play f4. Here, engine suggests that it's time to go back with rook b8, and we might later on play something like bishop f6. But Fischer's bishop f6 is not a bad move at all. We shouldn't care about this chess.com question mark. This is not a real question mark. This is a good move, actually. This is a good move. It just protects this pawn on e5. White plays c3 to have this d4 square. Rook b to b8 takes, and knight to d4. The only drawback of this moves was that now this knight is on d4. The only drawback of consequences. Okay, consequence and drawback are the same thing. So now this knight is on d4, and this is a good knight, actually. Now, but black has two bishops, and look at this wooden shield here. Look at it. This controls everything, basically. So white position is not good. And here black just simply plays g6. We have a safe haven for our bishop, and we control the f5 square. This position, in practical terms, it's very hard for white to play. So he plays a5, a3, a5, and here and b4. Once again, this minority pawn attack. Look at this minority pawn attack by Bobby Fischer. This is not a dubious move. And here, with this minority attack, we create a weakness in his majority pawn. And after rook b8, rook c2. Look, here white doesn't have a weakness, okay? White doesn't have a weakness. But after a5, we will try to create a weakness on the queen side. If he takes, we will take back. And this is the weakness that we were looking for. And if we were able to win that pawn, then we will be able to win the game, actually. So this is how black is going to proceed in Najdorf. And after rook c2, we will play queen b6. This is the game. And here Fischer took. Engine suggests b3, but b3 is closing the game. I guess b takes a3 was the best, actually, practical choice. You know, by perfect play, white will be able to save this game, but only by perfect play. You know what was great about Bobby Fischer? He was the best in history of chess. Probably Magnus is also the same like him. In using minimal advantages in chess. He was great. He was pushing till the end, till the moment that his opponent collapsed. He won a lot of chess games just by utilizing minimum advantages in chess. So this was Garry Kasparov in one of his videos said that Magnus Carlsen is a combination of Anatoly Karpov and Bobby Fischer. Anatoly Karpov in just using positional ideas, using minimum advantages in especially in middle game, but in the end game we can see this prospect of Fischer's play. He was very great in using minimum advantages in the end game and converting them into a winning position. So here Fischer says, okay, you have two weaknesses, and we have the same color bishop. It's not opposite color bishop, so I can put pressure on you. Here probably rook c7 was better, but who knows in a practical game which one is better. If you play rook c7 after rook d6, you will going to lose one of these pawns, and engines just says just play this and pray that you will survive, but it's not easy. You will lose one of these pawns, and we have a 4 against 4 pawns. We have a passed pawn. It's not a simple draw actually. It's you have to play a very good chess game to manage to hold the draw. And after rook c3, rook b2, rook c7, and here bishop comes to f5, g4. This was a mistake by white. He should have played bishop c4. Not a very hard move to spot, but black can play rook d2 or rook c2. He might have he might have afraid of rook c2 that, for example, here something like bishop d3 is coming, and the only resource for white was d6 to attack this, and we don't have bishop d3 or something because bishop takes f7 exists. So here black can convert this position into this kind of position, and after this is a very hard move to actually to find. I mean, this was the main idea to found rook c6 in this position was very hard, you know. For example, if you play rook c5 in this position, bishop takes f5, d7, and after bishop a6, this position is probably winning. After this kind of play, it's probably winning for black. I mean, in practical terms, in engine terms, it's still not clear, but in practical terms, you have two pawns and you play king g7, very easy play. You put your rook on a2. This in practical terms, especially with time ticking, this is very hard to play. But what engine suggests is to play rook c6 in this position, not rook c5. And after bishop takes here, we have d7. And here, white is a tempo up and can save this pawn. But I guess black is still the favorite in this position to, of course, the favorite. Probably he wins, still wins the game. But this was his best. This was his best idea to save this game. But he plays g4. He says, you know what, if you take this, I'm going to take this, and if you play bishop e4, I'll play bishop f3, and I can hold this position, and my king is probably in some positions I can play king g2, but here black plays bishop d3, and this is the problem. This is the problem, and here white pushes with d6. He's relying on d7, rook c8 check, but he probably missed something like rook d8. In this position, maybe rook a1 was better, but already here it's very difficult to play. After e4, this is probably lost. So he plays d6 and now rook d8, a very good move. He wants to take on this pawn and rook e1, and here it comes rook takes d6. e4 was also good, but rook takes d6 is good. Rook takes e5, and here rook to f6, a very nice move. He attacks this bishop, and if this bishop goes away, then rook comes to f2. This rook is both protecting the f7 pawn and attacking this piece. Here he plays rook e3. I mean, the position is no longer defensible. I mean, the computer says here and then rook e3. I don't see any difference. Still, probably here there is a difference. Huh? Rook takes f3, takes bishop here, and after rook takes f7. Here there is a difference. It comes with check. So this check was very important. Yeah, this check was very important. After king g7, rook d3. Now rook takes f3 doesn't exist because this comes with check, and if here it just gives you checks, and if you go here, then white can play king g1, then this is draw. So black should not take on f3 anymore, but bishop e4 exists, and after take rook takes f3, I believe that this position is still winning because this is going to be taken, rook f2 is coming, so I guess this is lost. But what he played in the game was he made a mistake and he didn't play this check and rook e3, and here Fischer took, and now bishop e4. Now rook takes f7 is not with check, and here it comes rook f2 and rook f8, king g7, rook f. He doesn't play rook f8. He just resigned in this position after move 14. But after rook f4, he will just simply go there. And here, this is a very simple winning position. We will win this pawn like a4, rook, maybe even not rook a3. I'm not sure why. Probably first king f6 to prevent any kind of g5, and after any move, we're threatening king e5, king g5, and rook to a3. This is just simply winning for black, winning this game is very easily, and it is out of our topic of Najdorf. I wanted to just show you the endgame technique by the great Bobby Fischer. This was a very difficult game, actually, more difficult than the previous one, and I hope you enjoyed this game and you learned something. You know, these ideas by Fischer in the opening, very simple, very simple. You just develop a6, you will play pawn to e5, bishop e7, develop your pieces. Always knight d7 in these positional lines, and b5. This is our main goal. This is dream scenario actually for black. And here probably Fischer with knight c4 would have got a bigger advantage, but this was also good. And later on he improved his position, and this minority attack on the queen side is very important, and later on it was technique and poor defense by white, and Fischer here managed to sacrifice and won this nice game. And I hope you enjoyed it. If this is the case, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and enjoy chess and life.